Check, check, check. 1, 2. Can you guys hear me? Let me fix my hat. Oh, let me just fix this a little bit. Narnog, what's up? Huh, it's the era of the hat because it's a little chilly. Yeah, maybe like that. I don't know. What's up, Dale A? I got one of these. I'm house sitting for my parents, so they got these Canadian dries in the fridge. They are tasty, but I feel like you die a little bit every time you drink one. But just a little bit. So you could probably drink like 10,000 and then you'd die. So I'm 1/10,000th dead, among other things. Now two 10,000ths. And I've drinking some in the past as well. It's not my first rodeo with the old Canada Dry. Oh yeah, you can just feel it like seeping into your like nervous system and like changing your DNA. Don't even know what's happening. Let me see here. So we're one backer from getting to 10 thou on Hotel Story, so that's why I wanted to go live. Hopefully I have enough things to talk about for at least a little bit. Barb Rogers, what's up? She goes, don't die, I want my books. Someone posted the other day, they're like, don't George R. Martin us, Narwhal. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Hey, check out this shirt. But we're actually not promoting this right now. We're promoting Hotel Story. Goody Two Shoes, what's up, man? What's up, Caleb? What? Daly says, check the ingredients for seed oil. This mustn't have it, but it has some BS in it, I'm sure. That'd be funny if it did have seed oil. There's just no way. Nah, I mean, it doesn't say it, but. Yeah. So we're just one backer away. I think I can share. I only have one monitor. So I think I can share the tab. I'm going to try that. See what that even does. Share. Does that do something? Yeah. So, dear man, what's up, man? So that's where we're at. Look at that. So close to 10 thou. 10 thou is a very nice little dopamine dealio. You know something though? I told Jared after launch day, I was like, all right, now like check once a day, but don't let it get to you because then you do get in that dopamine loop. And you kind of don't want that where you're like refreshing all day, just seeing if you get a new backer. And I've had campaigns in the past where it has a kind of a big dead period. It has a huge launch, then it's kind of dead for a few weeks. So you actually kind of can forget about it. But this one's been trickling in a good way, like just a constant trickle all week. So I do feel compelled to check it constantly because it does update. And then I feel compelled to promote it constantly too. So it's been taking up a little more of my time than I had originally planned, but I don't necessarily mind. I kind of like promoting and talking about Hotel Story. This one, like it's fun. Like at any point, you're like 167 backers. That's awesome, and you're like, oh, I would love to get 600. That's like almost 4 times what we have here. I'm like, oh, that feels very daunting. But you cut to like 2 months in the future because this is just in 1 week, and the reality is people do kind of back at their convenience as they become aware of it and can afford it. Not everyone's back in right away. So it is good for it to be open for a longer period of time, and you'd be surprised how high it'll get. But hitting 10,000 like in the first week does make me relax just a little bit because some of this stuff, it is like the business plan, like it's got a bare minimum to hit, or else I got to figure something else out. But we're hitting those numbers still, even in the slightly darker times with the economy. A lot of campaigns are dipping just a little bit, and mine too. But the wheels are rolling. The wheels are still going. I got some cats and dogs here too. They're being ridiculous. Hey, stop it. My parents' dog is insane whenever when it's just me, because she gets kind of needy and she gets competitive with the cats. She's like, oh, so it's like this now, huh? not 3 humans, just 1, and it's the one that I kinda like the least because he's only around a little bit, slash maybe she likes me the best, I don't know. Barbar 7 people here, 7 thumbs up. But so I've been getting into spiders. Did I tell you guys? I've been watching a ton of YouTube videos. I'm thinking about starting a spider club in the city I live in, a spider appreciation club. I wonder if I could get anyone to go. Because I can never have an answer for, do you have a hobby? And I'm always like, shit. I mean, I used to play sports, don't really anymore. I go hiking once in a while, but it's usually if someone invites me, like even with my dad or whatever, I'll go 3, 4 hikes a year, sometimes more if I get invited more. But it's not really a hobby. A lot of my hobby is like I just work uh all the time. But even then, like I'm only super productive in the mornings. In the afternoon, I'll be watching YouTube. I'll read some comics. I will work out. So that's like a little bit of a hobby is working out. But seems like spiders could be my new hobby because I got so many spider stories just in the last week. Because as soon as you like decide to get into spiders, first off, they're everywhere. So you could just find one in the room, start watching it, and it's not boring. That's what's funny too. Because I had the experience from crabbing, doing a crab walk with my redneck buddy, who's like he's the type who, if the world ever ends, I would try and like just go over to his place, be like, "You need any drawings? You can lead like this new clan, and I'll just be like the recording artist guy. And can I have some of your crab? Can I have some of your venison? Like, can you teach me how to shoot a gun?" Actually, I have gone shooting with him, but he was like, "Want to go crabbing?" And I was like, "Sure." So we went. I got all the gear, and we went like 10 times, but it's a little bit less convenient now, especially because I'm in a different city. So we haven't gone in a while. But that experience, it's specifically the crab walk. You wait for low tide. You get your waders, your chest light, and your scooper and your bucket, and you walk out there at midnight or whatever. And it's low tide, so for a while it's like walking in the desert, but it's like a wet desert. So you're like on sand, flat under a full moon, and you can see little pockets of ocean in the pockets of sand. And you can pause at any one and look at it. And that's what's interesting is like it's the least it's the mathematically least boring thing that you could ever do on planet Earth, pretty much, is crabbing. But also like it's because and the reason is you're hunting, so you're like doing one of the primal things to keep your body going or whatever. And so your eyes are engaged at all times and you're looking for crabs, so you're just not bored, you're just like in the moment. That's kind of another way to put it. The opposite of being bored is being in the moment, and being bored is kind of when you're not in the moment, you're thinking of what you'd rather be doing, present, past, whatever. And there are some other things we can all think of, I'm sure, that where you're very in the moment that are very not boring. But crabbing is the number one. That's what I'm saying, that's what I'm telling you. And crabbing, yeah, so it's just so great. Except there's one semi-negative thing about it is, so one thing, it is like a kingdom, a universe that you have access to, that you can walk out there and you see this other world, literally like transporting to another world, an alien world. Because oh yeah, you keep going, then you're in 3 feet of water, then you're looking for the crabs, and you're not just seeing crab, you're seeing like all sorts of crap. But one thing is the crab, they try so hard to escape that I was like, dude, I can just tell that they're smart. Like they're not stupid. You can tell like they freaking hate you and they run away. Like one crab, a big one, big mofucker. I was like, dude, this is the biggest crab I've ever seen. I'm gonna get him. Gonna get me that big old crab. And he goes, "Fuh!" And he like scoops up all this sand, like freaking ninja smoke bomb. He's like, side into the freaking deep waters, and I'm starting to go, and I'm getting up almost over my waders, and Cody grabs me and he's like, "It's never worth going over your waders for a crab, man. Because if you go over your waders, then the water actually waterlogs, so it's like hard to even walk. The water, like it sinks into the boots, so it's actually kind of a little dangerous in some ways. Plus, then the waders are what's keeping you warm, and it is cold out there. It's like because we do it in winter too. Like you just get all bundled up. You go out there, you can see your breath, and you're just like, or we do it like late fall or something. 13 people watching. Deli says crabs are the spiders of the sea. That's sort of true, but just the fact that crabs are I swear they're smart, that just gave me a little second thought about it. And then that when I was learning about spiders, that's the thing too, is like they're smart. Like anything that has to hunt, some spiders more than others, but anything that has to hunt kind of has to be, not super dumb. They have to get like a brain that can do some good stuff. And one of the things they're trying to do is they have to figure out what's food and what's not, and they have to make those decisions very well, or they would quickly die. And like if a spider, if it's, I think this could be like evolutionary, but they're able to make this distinction that they do know and they do have the thought, if I bite this guy, he's going to kill me. So I'm not going to bite him. But then of course they sometimes do bite you, but that's when they think you're going to kill him. Then it's like every like situation is like a Mexican standoff where he's like, I see that you have a giant finger there that could squish me. Just so you know, I also have fangs that if you do try to squish me, I can bite you. So let's just both do nothing. How about that? And you're like, yeah, sounds good to me, buddy. I'm totally down with that. And he's like, cool, sounds good. That's like the deal. George Costanza on Seinfeld, he talks about the unspoken deal with the pigeons that you just drive at them and they always get out of the way of your car. Except one pigeon didn't follow the deal. That's like spiders too. They have that deal. But like one spider, one in a million, maybe they don't follow the deal. Maybe you do get a either it might be like a really dumb spider or like a sociopathic, psychopathic serial killer spider or a man eater spider who's like, yeah, human flesh. I bit a man once and lived to tell the tale. I will do it again. I will taste the blood. But spiders have multiple kind of bites too. They can do a dry bite. They can do the big sinking venom bite. They can do multiple venom bites, some of them. And those are ones that you kind of got to watch out for even more. But a lot of them just dry bite. They do these little warning kisses almost that you just don't even care. And that's actually kind of nice of them to do that. You're like, hey, thanks for just nipping me and not freaking pumping venom into my hand. So I've been getting less scared of spiders though, which is pretty fun. And one thing is, I immediately felt really bad because I killed a huge spider a month ago. So then a month after that, I kind of went down the YouTube rabbit hole, got into spiders, and started thinking how cool they are. So then I kind of was like, shit. Right before I had that enlightening moment, I just murdered a majestic beast, but it was a huge wolf spider. And I had a little mini redemption because last night, I think it was last night, it might have been 2 nights ago. There was a spider, and he was in between like the I don't know the frame to from the hallway to get into the bathroom, just the frame around that doorway. It's like a quarter inch or less away from the wall, and so there's this little like rivet all the way up, and he was just in there. But I could see that he was like a kind of creepy type of spider. I think he was a small wolf spider when I finally got to look at him, but he wasn't a big one. He was kind of small. And the other thing is, I think this time of year, a lot of them might be getting old and might be dying. Their cycle is kind of like they uh, they kind of mate in late fall, winter, and die, and then they hatch or whatever in the spring. And what most spiders only live 1 year. So this guy though, I touched him with my finger just a little bit because his legs were curling out around the frame, and he kind of goes, he like pulled back even more. And so then I was like, well, okay, whatever. So I check in the morning though, he's still there. He hadn't even moved. And then later that day, he still hadn't moved. So I was like, what's this guy's deal? I kind of tried to feed him. I put a little ant kind of nearby, but he didn't touch it. And then I did after he was there for like 48 hours. I was like, this is a little weird. So, but if you kind of, I had a little stick, a little like long toothpick, like the ones that are like this long, like foot long sort of toothpick type thing. And I like touch him just slightly, and he did start moving, and he kind of started trying to crawl up the wall, and he was going kind of slow, and his feet weren't sticking very well. He was crawling and then sliding down a little bit, and I was like, I heard that's what happens to old spiders. They get less good at their feet having the stickiness or whatever. So I was like, I think this guy's old. He might have been like getting ready to die. He might have like mated, hopefully, poor guy. You just kind of wait to die, I guess. I don't know if he was like waiting to die, like or what, but he was like not really doing much. Um, so then I did get a glass jar, and I got him in the jar and got a little better look at him. I was like, "Oh, I think he's and even doing that, I would have never been able to do that a month ago or whatever. But and he was on the edge of the jar. I didn't have a lid, and I was just holding it and I was kind of trying to get him in and he did look creepy. He wasn't like jumping spiders are legit not creepy. But he got in the jar. I took him outside and I dropped him in the I kind of shook the jar gently into the grass and then he was in the grass and I'm like, "All right, bud, I think like I think most wolf spiders chill in the grass anyway. So he's kind of he found himself in the house for whatever reason, but he might die pretty quickly. I don't know what his deal was, but got that guy. And then I did spot my first jumping spider in the wild. It was on my car, and I jumping spiders have great eyesight, so they're a little bit funner than other spiders because a lot of other spiders they kind of go by touch and vibration and stuff like that. So some of them like they won't even do anything until maybe you like touch them and then they'll freak out and then you freak out, that kind of thing. But the jumping spiders, like you can put your hand, like a foot ahead of them and kind of slowly move it towards them. And then they'll like be like, oh shit. And they'll kind of go the other way. You put your hand there, you're like, hey, I'm here. And they'll let you get closer and closer. And this guy, he ended up kind of avoiding my hand. He was running up the glass. And I was like, dude, you're getting like in the middle of nowhere. So I got kind of pretty close to him. I put my finger like this right underneath him, my what's it called, fingernail, and he jumped on my fingernail. And then he was running around my hand a little bit, and I was like, I could barely feel him. He's so little, but they are cute if you get a closer look at them. And some of them get a little bigger, and then they're still cute. All jumping spiders are cute, and I was like, dude, this guy, he knows what's up. Like, but and he definitely I think he's one of the jumping spiders. They definitely know that thing where like they know you're not food. They know you're not trying to kill them like pretty quickly. Like they figure that out in like a matter of like seconds. Even they can like size you up. They can kind of like look you in the eye, and then they're like, yeah, he's not going to kill me. So that guy, he was running around, but then I was gonna lower him down to the grass, and they're kind of like Spider-Man or whatever. Like they have a belay system, is how they use their web. So he was attached to the car. So I moved my hand away, and then he swung off back onto the car. So then I got him again, and then I kind of went even slower, and then the belay broke. I might have knocked the belay with my finger. I tried some of that, but I might have done that earlier. But then I got him pretty low, and as I'm still kind of above the grass, like 2 feet, but so I'm not even that low. So he was still wasn't that into hanging out on my hand. But I get like 2 feet, and he jumped ship whoo, into the grass, and he's fine. They can fall super far. The littler they are, it's the frickin' tarantulas are it's kind of sad or whatever. Like I don't even think tarantulas can fall like anything over a foot and it might hurt them. Definitely hurts them if they fall from like 6 feet. They might die actually. So you really got to be careful a little bit with handling tarantulas, which I don't think I'd. And apparently they're like the gentle giants too, and they also don't really bite ever humans. But I still I wouldn't. I don't think I could do that yet. Barb Rogers, $5 for the spiders. Spider, spider, spider. See that emoji? It is a little creepier. If they did the spider, the jumping spider, their jumping spiders are legit cute. It's kind of funny. They're like, what? Barbar's duct tape. Barb, I had a dream about a hidden crypt beneath my basement. When I woke up, I saw the vacuum cleaner floating and it quickly slammed the ground. True story. That's funny. What's up? What's up? What's up? Hey, we did get a backer while I was talking. So let's update it, see if we hit that. Because we might not, you know what I mean? Like it might be one more ever so slightly. Is it going to update? It's taking a second. And I maybe have one more spider story for you guys. I'll try and get through them all. Hey, look at that. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Whew. Who knew all it takes is like a big, long, meandering spider story? Um, Maddox, back that you should too. Thanks, Maddox. So cute you want to eat them? No, but are you like, is that like a real thing? Like I've heard other people say that like about kitties. They're like, they're so cute. I just want to squeeze them to death. I just want to bite their head off. They're just so cute. And I'm like, that's like a real reaction, but also super weird. But I can kind of relate to like the squeezing to death. You're just like, you're so cute. But of course you do not. But Elmer says spiders are tight. Like fire tonight. Nathan Paul, hey, over 10K, thanks. Yeah, we just got there. So we got there, it's Friday, launch Sunday. So we even have like 2 more days, and then that will be week one. And yeah, it does bode well, hopefully, for like, hitting the first stretch goal is 20K. And I think we will hit that, but I don't know when. The sooner the better. And then it's like, oh, maybe we can go higher because it is like the business plan, the more the better. We're funding the next one and we're funding a few other projects if we can with the money. Um, so yeah, we're hoping the more readers, the better. Like I was hoping for at least 600 and we're getting there. We're almost at 200, then we're like a third there. There's a lot of people that haven't backed yet that will. A lot of people that have read Narwhal and know some Narwhal stuff want to get on with the latest joint. And yeah, this one's is definitely worth it. It's my favorite, but it's tied with Grand Prix in a way. But Grand Prix is kind of just getting started, and this is like the full first half of the story. And when I say first half, like this story, part one is complete in its own right. So, Deli, 5 figures, young lady. Lay Rodmule says, "Hey, your books are pretty legit. Just started Earthbound and enjoyed Cerberus, so definitely we'll be backing this one soon." Yes, thanks, Le Radmule. Stoked, man. Thank you. See, that gives me hope for the future too. That um, just like I don't know, like I can keep making a living doing this and maybe grow it. Keep doing more and more. I want to hire like a few more people and get a little more of an umbrella going. I actually want to call it the Narwhal Umbrella. That would be my company, I think, and it would be a lot of CG people. But I did that a little bit, even like just hiring Monica and working with Jared and stuff. But I have some other moves I want to do regarding that, and I do want to get more into animation, more into video games, and all this stuff we'll be able to do in like 10 years is kind of a long time, uh, and then we'll all wonder where we are looking back and what's going to be going on. But every year you make strides, you make putting out books. It won't be long before I'll have like 6 like full big graphic novels that are all kind of like throwing their hat in the ring for being these like standout stories, like 300-page stories that you can get the full kind of emotional experience from, that competes with movies, like even like legit Hollywood classics or whatever. Like Earthbound, like you could read Earthbound or you could like watch what's a good sci-fi movie. I wouldn't want to compare it to Star Wars, but I don't know, Chronicles of Riddick or something. And like Earthbound is like better than Chronicles of Riddick. So that's like legit. Earthbound has some early Peter Jackson energy, though. I think a lot of my stuff does. Um, he was a huge influence. He has his first 3 movies, Bad Taste, Meet the Feebles, and Brain Dead / Dead Alive, two different titles for the same movie. They're also great, and they're also fun. They're kind of like a little bit like fly by the seat of your pants punk style, a little bit, which I like a lot, and some of my stuff's a little bit like that. Nathan Powell, the Narwhal Cinematic Universe. Yeah, I'm trying to make a movie right now. I've been talking about it here and there. I got the script written, and I'm talking to some actors. It's kind of hard to cast. Like it's hard to just get people even interested. I put a casting call out for the area, just a small town, and there's a fair amount of acting, but they're all theater actors, and they don't want to do movies. Like they've done movies in the past, and they always suck, and so they just don't want to. And I'm like, dude, yeah, I have worked on movies and they suck. That's like something I'm worried about. I don't want to be another sucky movie that you just trying to have them do. But that's why I told him, I'm like, we'll do the plan is to do one step at a time. Like we're just gonna make like a short film basically shooting the beginning scene and even see if we can make it of a high enough quality to justify to continue. But even then, that means you start the whole thing sort of in earnest. You need to write the whole thing, you cast it. We're gonna do full script read throughs, talk about the characters, blah blah blah. But that the whole thing there was had to write it so it actually could be shot. Because like even like some of my more minimalist comics that are a little more cinematic, like Foreign Agent, like to do that you'd need five bilingual actors or three bilingual act. Yeah, I think five, basically five bilingual actors and a cabin in the woods in the snow. And if you had all that, then that's not that much. Like you could get that and make it, but I'm like, that's not necessarily good for a first movie. First movie should be even less than that, if possible. That's sort of been my approach. And I'm like, even if that means, yeah, there's a lot of limitations on the type of story you can tell. It might not be the type of story I would tell voluntarily if I'm doing a comic. It kind of changes. Like there was something I was saying, and this is something I really like about movies actually. But there's an idea I have for a plot that kind of tickles my fancy, and I'm considering doing it as a comic. But the plot being like a mutual, like as mutual, under in tandem undercover type thing where um, someone goes into a kingdom. Well, we'll say like the kingdom for now. That's sort of like the prototype I'm using for it. Somebody goes into the kingdom undercover. The king does like undercover boss style because the person's going undercover to kill the king. The king goes undercover boss to find the person who's trying to kill the king and as a fake king. And then so that's like the story. Like that's kind of fun, you know. And it would be too. In my idea, they're both like warned by soothsayers or what's a better word for that? But oracles of each other's kind of plan, but they don't know the exact details. And the king knows it's the reinforcements that someone among the reinforcements, because they're like under siege or they have an approaching army and they need these reinforcements. One of them is undercover and destined to kill him, or like I don't know if destined, but he's attempting to kill him. So then he does undercover boss. So that's like the story. But if you make a movie, you're like even I don't even know if I'd want to do like a $200 million medieval epic, you know? I was like, I want to do that story, but I want to do it as a movie. So what do? You put it in a pizza shop where the owner of the pizza shop becomes the kingdom, and it's the new trained employees coming in. One of them has a claim to the pizza shop because he's a bastard son of the old ex owner of the pizza shop who passed it down to this guy, and for whatever reason they're following a little bit about that code or whatever. And so then he goes undercover boss to find out which guy it is because he thinks they're doing research on him. And how he would find out, you couldn't necessarily do oracles in that scenario. It would just be like gossip or whatever, like leaked information. But you could do like a double undercover spy story about a pizza shop. And like as soon as I thought that, I was like, I said that on a stream like a month ago, and I was like, dude, maybe I should write that because all of a sudden it becomes so fun as a movie, whereas a comic, it's cool, but it doesn't. Even though it's like more trite as a movie, it's like, and it's more for the comic. It's like the rise and fall of kingdoms. Fuck yeah, and then the movie's like the rise and fall of pizza shops. But for some reason, that's like cool. But I don't know if I'd want to do that as a comic. Like if I do it as a comic, I'd probably do it as a kingdom. If I do it as a movie, I do it as a pizza shop. And that's kind of like one of the differences between movies and comics. Um, yeah, let me see what you guys are saying real fast. We passed 10,000, so I'm stoked. So I'll just go a little bit longer than take the night easy, but I might go a half hour longer. Elmer, do you play video games? I used to be addicted to video games, but that was like PS2 era and maybe a little PS3. Um, but I've basically moved over to where I just watch Let's Plays while I draw, and that's like my methadone. But I kind of stay up with them, and I'll watch kind of a lot of video game footage while I'm drawing. It's one of the main things I watch, which it is like it's still kind of a waste of time, which is actually it's nice to have things to waste your time with rather than being like, I need to watch about spiders biology while I draw. That I'm getting two birds with one stone, educating my mind, which might provide inspiration later, and also draw. I need to watch about the Roman Empire and the assassination of Caesar because I do have like a playlist for that. And if I'm in the right mood, I can do that. But a lot of times it's like either just music or video game let's plays on in the background if I'm drawing. Dilly says the Prince and the Pauper. Yeah, is that maybe that is that the plot straight up? Because I got to look at that then, and as possible influence. Mm. One thing I was going to chat about real quick too. It was a tweet that I just did that I said, and I've been thinking it for like a week, and I was like, the tweet is comics is a young art form, and I was thinking that's immediately you think of what people could say to that. Like people could say, "No, the hieroglyphs count as comics. Cave paintings count as comics. Comics are older than time itself, time immemorial." And I was like, "No, comics. I'm pretty sure they were like invented in the 1930s or whatever, maybe 20s. Like movies. It's funny. Movies are if you go by that definition, movies are older than comics. Comics are younger than movies. Comics, you could say, are like the youngest storytelling art form. And then you're like, so even if there's kind of three big ones. It's novels, movies, comics. They're all a little different. They all have their pros and cons. Novels are pretty dang old, been around a long time. Um, Comics, pretty young. Movies are just a little interesting because they more than the other two, they like involve timing and animation and audio and stuff like that, which is kind of fun. But it's fun that comics and novels don't do that too. But so if it's a young art form, then you could say it's a young art form, which means that there's still a lot to be explored, which I actually do think is true, but that's a little weird too. You're like, nah, everything's been explored. I'm like, well, first off, compare it to movies. I don't think that the level of the what people say are the amazing. I'm going to say some borderline controversial stuff here, maybe. So, like, the masterpieces of comics, they compared how they stand amongst the main body of work of comics in general, compared to the masterpieces of movies. There's a lot more wider breadth of masterpieces for movies that explore a lot more. Whereas for comics, the masterpieces they're out there, but they're it's not much of a wider breadth is covered. Um, and yeah, I could think about that more and try and put that in better words. But so one of the things, if you say, okay, well, so there's still stuff to explore, but stuff has been explored, and then you have to stand on the shoulders of the giants who came before you because we're trying to figure out this art form kind of in what's it called we're kind of all in it together a little bit. Like you learn from the giants, you're standing on the shoulders of giants, you learn from those that came before, you add a little bit, you learn, you add a little bit, you honor what came before. And then so for that even today I was like, well, so one thing, just for shits and giggles, what if you don't what if you don't honor them? Because one thing I was thinking is the older generation did abandon us because of the SJW stuff. They're all cowards, except for like five of the Comics Gate Kings, and they're amazing. But like most of these like dudes, they're cowards, or they would have been if I'm just super jaded from from that shit. But just and this is almost just like a thought experiment. So yeah, you can kind of make that argument that they're just cowards, so who even cares what they think? And then maybe we could do better anyway, because cowards can't really do good shit anyway. But then yeah, I was wondering like, well, if you actually did have that, it's not always the most positive mindset, but if you did have that, that would be a faster way to explore the possibilities and explore the space. Is the more you stand on the shoulders of giants, the more limited you are in the advancements you can make. Whereas if you just jump off this giant shoulder, be like, fuck this giant, fuck you, and you just run off into the field. Sure, you may get stomped on, you may die of starvation, you may get a grass cut so bad that you bleed to death and it gets infected and you're just screaming in pain and die a fate worse than death. You could be super bored out there. You could be forgotten, ignored. You could drown. All that stuff could happen. But you could also find some of the more crazy stuff. And I was thinking a metaphor for what the discoveries of a young art form could be. It actually could be achievement hunting in video games. That's the metaphor. So I don't know if you guys do that. I've only seen a little bit of it. Again, I'll check it on YouTube. Some channels they just do achievement hunting, and that it's kind of a what's that? That's a crowdsourced thing too, almost where the achievements can get like Wikipedia style. They can get input by everyone, and they add it to the list. And if you're able to do one of these things, then you can check that box. And I'm like, there's a lot of that stuff that hasn't been checked in comics, and where I think in movie that's another one where in movies it has been checked a lot more. Um, so I don't know, but then I was like, well, shit, what are the comics achievement hunting that is unchecked at this point? And then it actually does get kind of hard because no matter what you say, I mean, there are a lot of comics out there, and a lot of them might do. And if you're talking modern, postmodern, that's kind of the evolution of movies. Was it went from there was a technological advancement, kind of, and then also a sort of storytelling advancement, and then even with movies, what's weird is it sort of went backwards. Like modern movies suck now. So what happened there? I don't even know what the hell's going on there. But it's like it peaked. And you could say it even peaked in the 70s. You could say that the new ADD audience where you have to be even more ADD is actually not necessarily a negative thing. That is like the fact that some of these old movies do feel slow. It is like an objective semi-negative thing about those movies that they're too slow. They didn't figure that out yet. But at the same time, you're like, no, I don't know. Like that, I'm not sure about that one. Um, Jake was talking a little bit about manga and how they forge in the fires of competition, like Shonen Jump magazine, because you get entered in Shonen Jump and then shit gets cut. If the audience doesn't like it, it gets cut, And I was thinking about that. We might talk about this on a creative block, but that's definitely kind of a cool thing to even like simulate in your head. We have a little bit of that in crowdfunding, but it's over a long period of time. Like then the reputations build. Like I think like I've built a little bit of a reputation where people know that all my books are going to be pretty fun and good, I guess, So that helps. But it takes like 6 years to even have that reputation. Whereas it can happen in a matter of months with Shonen Jump because you're putting it out, getting the feedback, putting out, getting the feedback. And you have to get the feedback in that case too from like the first 20 pages, which is interesting too. Like it means you do have to like don't be slow. Like make some shit happen right away. Don't waste people's time. And that's what some like that. So some of that is like of the achievement hunting. I think manga has done way more of it than if I think of American comics. I can think of a few like one random achievement I thought of it was this is one that sort of Hotel Story could like be in the running for, but it would be like the longest real-time sequence in a comic and the page count to correlate to it. So like in Hotel Story, the whole story is like 260 to 280 pages. So part one is 124. Part two is like a little bit longer, but 130, we'll say, pages. So part one, part two, 250 pages. And those 250 pages cover 5 hours of one night. So like that's the that's the correlation, and that's like kind of rare, but pretty sure manga's done it. I don't know if American comics have done that. So it would be like a first. It would be check the achievement hunting for Hotel Story. Foreign agent, it has one that it could sort of claim is the minimalism that it all takes place in one house and it only has 5 characters and it's 200 pages long. Like, I don't know if, there might be others, but that's like you could check a box or you could throw it in the ring for that. Some of my inspiration does come from that. I like the conceptual things to be part of the fun of why I want to do the project in the first place. The other one with Foreign Agent is the fact that it has the art within the art. So like or the comic within the comic kind of thing of how they try and get past the language barrier by exchanging drawings. Like immediately I was like, oh, that's fun. It's like fun, especially in the comics medium to do that. But yeah, a lot of my projects will have a little something like that where they're trying to do a little achievement hunting for this young art form. But again, it's kind of hard because to even think of them, because it's true. Like there's a ton. Let me see what you guys are saying. Newspapers had comic strips in the 1890s. That would put it at about the exact same age as movies then. Glyphs are really just memes, not real storytelling. Yeah. Just bringing up Uncharted because its games have been very story-driven, very cinematic. Yeah. I don't have Foreign Agent. Is there a way to back it soon? Yeah. I'm launching an eBay store with the help of my friend of the channel, Richard Lusura. I mailed him 180 pounds of books earlier this week, and he's got a little storage set up, and that'll be the Narwhal eBay store. And we'll try and I might call it the Narwhal Umbrella because I might like sell a few of my buddies' books too or something. Um, but that will be I don't know what was I going to say. Oh, it's going to be a little bit. I'm trying to make it just a little cooler and more special, at least the way I think of it, than an eBay store. So trying to maybe like some cool banner art. And yeah, it's just an eBay store, but that is the place you go to buy Narwhal if it's not being crowdfunded at the time. And I sent about 10 of each graphic novel. So there's only 10 Foreign Agents, but yeah, you can get one. Like as soon as that goes up, you can get it for the pretty much the price of what it crowdfunded for, I think. Maybe just a little more because of freaking inflation is insane these days. But so keep an eye out. I'm curious if like it would be cool if some of them sell out. Like here's 10 new Foreign Agents, and if they sold out in one day, that would be cool. Cool Teen says buy a URL to forward it. That is a good idea. I actually might do that. I'll look into what if Narwhal Umbrella is available or something. I had one for a while, but I kind of did it too soon and didn't need it, so quit paying. Blah blah blah. What about the Cave Slave floppy? I think there's like 2 of those. Those actually kind of did sell out. Like I basically just ordered as many as I sold, a few extras, and then ended up selling a few of those. And a few got lost in the mail, so I reship, and there was only a couple left after that. Eventually, me and Vaughn are going to do Cave Slave 2, but I don't know when. It's still just kind of sitting on the back burner, but that's a thing that might happen sooner or later. I have an okay concept of what it might be. It might be, I've mentioned this to Vaughn, but I might like sooner or later when it cooks up again, I might reiterate because I do think it's a little solid approach, but it will be like what Evil Dead 2 is to Evil Dead. Like it'll be sort of a remake, but just like longer, better, cooler, more stuff happening. Darren Myron, looking forward to Nosferatu 2. That would be cool. I do have a script called Tomb of Nosferatu, but it's like a prequel, and it needs a little rewrite. But that was a big, fun script in the day. It was like 120 pages. It would be like a 300-page comic. Let's see here. 3. Let's do a little. I think we're still sitting at 10,000. Do a little update. One more backer before I get out of here. Anyone? Anyone? 10,007. 10,000. 5 figures. That is nice. It's gonna stay the same. I just know it. I just know it's gonna stay the same. Spinning wheel. Oh, it's the same. 22 people watching. I am thinking about getting out of here. I guess I'm just kind of hanging out for a second. Darren Wagner says Robert Eggers is writing and directing an Nosferatu remake. A sequel to your book would be timely. Yeah, I don't know what would happen. I'd have to even think about it. There is no, I think it's okay.